Welcome to Not So PG. I'm Brooke Blunt. My pronouns are she and her.
I'm Matty Mills. My pronouns are he and him. And before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land on which we record. And for me, that's the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation.
And for me, that's the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. All right, let's go.
Let's get into it.
I always think, how the hell did we end up with a podcast?
I believe that it was the universe. And we are where we're supposed to be.
I spin out every week that we do this, and we have like a beautiful community that, you know, listen to us every week.
Boy, I get sent messages or I will walk into a workplace and the thing that people love the most is the podcast. I'm like, wow, I love that.
I know. I get asked at events and they're like, how's the podcast going? And I'm like, it's free therapy. I love it.
Yeah. It's actually the funnest part of my job, and that's how I answer it. I say, you know what? Out of all the things that I do, it's the most fun. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, we obviously get along really well, obviously, but...
Yeah, I mean, in front of the cameras, yeah.
Yeah, behind cameras, I don't like this guy. Oh, God. I could see us doing a late night show together in the future, I reckon.
Yes, that's great.
We'll manifest it now.
What's the tea with Matty and B? Oh, that's the good one. What's the tea with Matty and B? Okay, late night show coming up.
And we just unpack like all this media controversy around. Like last week, obviously, we spoke about Carrie Ann and Dom, and we just like unpack it. We just like...
it sounds like a show we already do.
Pretty much.
Oh, no, super fun. But have you had a good week?
Yes, I've had a really good week. Good fitness week.
You're feeling good. You're looking good.
Thanks,
you're giving me fitness Barbie. Look, to be honest, I didn't have a different shirt. So basically I wore the same thing that I wore last week. So I was about it.
Yeah, I mean, you look good anyways.
Yeah.
Stripes look good on you, especially vertical ones, not horizontal. You don't do horizontal stripes.
No.
It's just not, you just don't.
No. You know, they call me Racing Stripes. Don't ask who, but, you know, they do.
Lol. Anyways, how's your running going?
It's very good. Doing three runs a week. So I'm doing 5Ks and I'm beating my time every time. So I started off with like 25 minutes and 50 seconds, which I don't know how, like I have no idea if this is good or not, right? So I'm not trying to sound like I'm fast or I'm slow. I have no idea where that sits. But the second time I did it, I beat it by 10 seconds. And then the third time I did it, I beat it by another 10 seconds. So I'm literally like running at the same pace, but just beating it by 10 seconds.
No, I love it because you'll just get, you know, the time will just come down each time.
Well, I hope so because I hate running and the less time it takes, I'm very excited about it. But I think it's the thing within my fitness routine that's going to make the difference. So for the next 6 weeks, I'm going to be running 3 times a week and also incorporating boxing into my schedule.
Ooh,
and I also want to do swimming because I know that shreds you.
Yeah, it does. And it's really good for cardiovascular health because you learn how to properly breathe, and then also like it's very low impacts on the body, obviously, because you're in the water. Sorry, listen to me.
Yeah, are you a good swimmer?
Yeah, I am actually.
Yeah, I'm not. Like I just don't think that I'm definitely not a great swimmer. Well, I haven't ever like properly done it. So I'm thinking about going to lessons at NCIE, not like proper swimming lessons, but they actually teach you like how to do like long distance and stuff. So you start off by doing, you know, certain laps, and I think it's a weekly course and they run it for 12 weeks or something, and you learn how to like breathe properly, technique, and it's all blackfellas. Well, mostly blackfellas. So
Love
I'm like,
that.
yeah, so I'm thinking of doing it.
Nice.
It's not something that comes natural to me, but I'm into it. Are you doing stuff by yourself, or is there someone who's doing it with you? I know that the chef that you were having a moment with owned a gym. How's that going?
Well, I'm good in fitness world. I mean, I'm just doing Pilates in the morning and then just walks in the afternoon because I'm just trying to do low impact. My body has taken a hammering over the last couple of years with footy. Like, honestly, every Monday morning when I'd wake up from a Sunday game, I would just feel like I'd been hit by a truck. And the last couple of years of not playing footy, my body just took a while to adjust. Like, I love getting absolutely like at the gym just, you know, annihilated, like, you know, that high intensity. But in the last couple of years, I've taken a bit more of a softer approach with like, you know, staying fit.
She's in a soft girl era.
Exactly. Like I'm just doing like low impact stuff.
I'm into it.
And I think because my body will love me for it, because as you get older, everything, loses elasticity, and, you're not as agile as you used to be. And I think I've really noticed that in the last couple of years. My recovery is very slow.
Yeah.
Like I would do a really hectic workout on a Monday, because Monday is usually like leg day and strength day. But I wouldn't be able to recover from it very quickly. And I'm eating and eating protein and stuff like that. But it's just, I just wasn't recovering as well. And, it kind of throws everything else out. But the chef guy, I mean, it has definitely fizzled a little bit. Not because for any reason. I feel like for me, I really want this year to just, be by myself. I don't want to fall into a relationship just because. Yeah. So I kind of put the brakes on it a little bit, and I think for me that's probably more.
Could you be friends?
Yeah, I mean, we're still talking and we're still like actively hanging out, but I just feel like dating for me is just not where my commitment's not there, my priority's not there. I just think like right now I've got a lot of other projects that I'd really like to focus on, and dating I've just put to the absolute back burner.
But at least you're being honest, and like at least you're being transparent, and that's all you can do, right?
Yeah, well, you know me. I'm always like pretty upfront and pretty honest about it, because I'm like, well, there's no point playing games and bullshitting. Like let's just, tell each other where we're at, and if we're not there, we're not there.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few obviously like I'd call them amber flags.
Okay.
You've got your red flags, which are non-negotiables.
Yes.
You've got your amber flags, which are things that you could work on, things you can improve on. And then you got your green flags. And I think for me, I constantly go for red flags.
Oh, no.
And I want to be like, okay, what are the green flags? Like, what are the things that show someone's character that I need? And I need to stop thinking about the red flags and think maybe, okay, is this a red flag or is this an amber flag? And determine whether like you give people, chances, or you give people the benefit of doubt, which I always do. I have no problem doing that. But it costs me a lot of time, costs me a lot of money, and a lot of fucking effort, and I don't really have that right now.
Yes, yeah. Well, good on you. You're strong boundaries. I'm going to support you with this, and and good on you. Like I think it's a positive place to be. I heard something so disgusting this last week that it like sent me, and I was very much upset and mortified, because I was sitting at a very well-known gay venue club, and I was with my friend Guy, and we were having like a really nice chill night, and there were a couple of people outside in this area where we were who were having conversations within their own sort of friendship circle, and I heard them using the N-word. And I have this thing about me now that is like, if people are going to say these really derogatory terms, whether it's the N-word, whether it's, words that are directed at First Nations communities or disabled communities, I will say something. And so I went over and I said, hey, I can hear your conversation. I'm sitting right there, and I think what you're saying is extremely racist and very derogatory. And you know what the person said? I'm Aboriginal. I can say that. And I turned to him and I said, do you want to know who's Aboriginal too? I am. And let me tell you, you can't say that. Absolutely not. That is not our word to own or say or use.
What are we fucking living in? Like the, 1900s?
And I don't even know if it was a black fella. I think he was just claiming to get some clout to be able to say that he was a part of that, word. I'm like, we aren't a part of that word. We never use that word. Anyway, so I sort of like arced up a bit. And then his friend who was Fijian said to me, well, I'm Fijian. And I was like, None of us in this circle are allowed to use this word. It is so racist. It isn't owned by us. Yes, there's a reclaiming that's happened, but that is for African American people who have reclaimed that word, or people of colour who have had that word used against them. You know, First Nations people a lot of the time have had other derogatory terms and racist terms, but not a lot that word. You know, it has been used. Anyway, they turned on me and started using it on me.
Why?
And so I just, because I was getting wild, so I turned to my friend Guy, so I had to walk away from him because I was like at that point where I was like, all right, what would the mature version of myself do? And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go and get security. Went straight to the front of the club, got security, had them literally come down. The first thing that the security guy was like, kicked them out immediately to his like, you know, offsider. Walk them down. I'm like, yep, these guys. And then the security guard sort of backed down on his stance and tried to make them apologize to me and keep them in the club. And I turned to the security guard and I said, if you do not kick them out immediately after what I've told you, I'm going to make more of a deal about this because your boss even told you to do that, you know? Anyway, so I got them kicked out of the club, but I just thought to myself, we're in a gay venue and you have these like people using this like disgusting language, and it just made me so wild to the point where I had to like take a breather. I had to leave the club myself, take a breather, and then reassess like what I was going to do with my night. And I don't resort to violence. It was the most disgusting thing, and like they just turned it all on me as if I was the issue.
And you were just calling them out.
This happens a lot in the queer community. There's like so there was a couple of people I used to hang out with in the start of the year, right, that I made friends with for a little while. And they were white, Sydney white gays is what the wider community call these fellas. They're very privileged, very affluent, you know, sort of a certain group of people. And they were using the N-word willy-nilly, one of them in particular. And I sort of thought to myself, I was like, why am I putting myself in this circle? Why am I like trying to like be even friends with these people? And I understood because back in the day, like when I was younger, I sort of knew some of these people out in the scene. But now that like I created a bit of a profile for myself, there's actually a currency there that they want. So they like they tried to attach themselves to me. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not going to be your friend because now you get like this clout moment of having like a First Nations mate with like a bit of a profile. Like get fucked. Anyway, they were using like this language that was just like disgusting. And I'm now like I know we spoke about this a couple of episodes ago and like you're someone who always speaks up for it as well. But now I'm like someone who it gets to the point where my blood starts to boil and I need to say something. And if I don't, I feel like I'm a part of the problem.
Yeah. We did speak about this a couple of weeks ago because I was talking about when I was, you know, was dating someone and they sort of said these words. And there was another time when they used the N-word as well, but it was in a song. And I think that for me is like it's equally not fucking okay. Like just because it's in a song and it's repeated back, it doesn't give you the opportunity or the freedom to say those words. Like and the words that you just need to just remove from your fucking vocabulary. Like it's not that fucking hard, people. But I think it's also an environment thing. I think it's more of a, like if your friend circle and the people that you surround yourself and you're only doing like you're going to work and going home, like that is all that you know. Like for me, moving from Perth to Melbourne is so progressive and we're so vigilant and we use proper language. We use our pronouns. We try to be inclusive. We definitely try to be more diverse. And also we understand our own privilege in what we are in the world as well. Like I'm a cisgender, Black, First Nations woman. I'm able-bodied. But some people in different environments, especially when we went to the Gold Coast, they wouldn't understand those terms. They wouldn't wrap their head around it. There'd be some, but there wouldn't be all. Like we are we're so much more vigilant. And the thing is, I'm really proud of you for sticking up for what you believe in. Because the thing is, we live in alignment with our values. And that's something we value is respect. respect for other people, respect for other minority groups, respect for diverse and a range of spectrum of people, right?
Yeah.
But some people just do not have that ability. Like they are just so like in their little circle, their little environment, and they don't step out of it, and they get right of way because of the people that are around them aren't calling them out, aren't pulling them up on it, aren't saying, hey, that makes me feel uncomfortable or that's not okay. They're not even being exposed within out of their own circle. And that for me is really hard to comprehend because I get that people just live in their own little bubble. I live in my own little bubble. But the thing is, I'm constantly always learning. I'm always kind of trying to self-develop. I'm always on that journey. Why are they not the same? Like, I don't understand. Why would you want to continuously use a word that you know is wrong?
Because you know what? They probably haven't had any interaction with somebody who it directly affects. And that's the honest truth. A lot of these smaller groups and communities, especially from, white communities, they probably don't even have any black friends. They probably don't even have any interaction with First Nations people or, people of colour. So they don't actually understand how it affects them, or they don't see it directly. And for me, it's like, not that that's an excuse, but that is like a common thing that is like that has happened in my world, where I've realized that white people that I know or I've been around through my schooling or through back in my early 20s, they don't even have any First Nations friends. So like, how would they even understand, or how would they even recognize how it feels? It's like, it's common sense for one, but it's also like they just don't have any real life experience with it.
Yeah, lived experience. But I also think what's also in contrast to that, and it's sort of on the same realm, is, allyship. Like, wouldn't you not want to be, because if you're a privileged person and you know that and you understand your own privilege, wouldn't you want to be like a good person and be like, well, I accept anyone for who they are? Like, and not performative allyship, because I think performative allyship is so fucking dangerous. Like, picking and choosing when you want to be an ally is more dangerous than, well, just being a fucking asshole, to be honest.
Well, you know what some of their main concerns are? I agree with you. One of their main concerns is that if they give up their privilege, they give up their power.
Yeah. I agree.
And that's the honest truth. When they start to actually be accountable for their privilege or be aware of their privilege, they then have a responsibility to act a different way. But if they live with this approach where they're not recognizing their privilege, they can live with ignorance.
Yes.
And ignorance,
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, ignorance, out of sight. It's the seed of like this way of life where you don't recognize your privilege. And I think that I see it a lot.
I see it. And the recent interaction that I've had with a good friend of mine is that they work in a really awesome organization, and I love, who they work for. But one of the things that really surprised me is that they did an acknowledgement to country, and they were really like adamant that they wanted to do it because it's respectful and it's cultural protocol. For me, like, that's cultural protocol wherever I go, right? An acknowledgement or a welcome. And they're not First Nations, and they wanted to do acknowledgement, and so they went to the business and they were like, well, this is what we need to do. And the business kind of was like, well, no, because of who's in the room, like, there's no First Nations people, and like kind of shut it down.
That's the opposite of why you're supposed to do it.
So they didn't get the message, and then my friend was like, no, it's happening. Like, I'm doing it regardless of who's in the room.
And it's also like when you're asked at an organisation to do an acknowledgement of country, which happened to me a lot over World Pride, right? And I did it for some and I said no for others. But there were times where I was like, this isn't about me acknowledging First Nations people and culture, because that's my life. It's about you, mob, acknowledging First Nations culture, land and community. And a lot of the time I always felt that like they thought that it was a good thing that giving you the opportunity to do it. And I was like,
no.
You're missing the point here.
You really are.
Whenever I do it, I put a little lesson in there. I do. I definitely put in like a little learning.
I know how this is, this has started from the N-word at a gay club, but it has eventuated into unpacking what we think, allyship, racism. Racism is very, very prevalent in Australia, guys. And if you are listening to this podcast and you aren't, of First Nations, or you come from a background that, you identify being privileged, just understand your privilege. It might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable at times because you're unpacking that. But honestly, I think personally, if you understand your privilege better, then you'll always be a better person for it. So, knowing your place and how you can be a better person to all people, including yourself, is really fucking important.
So well said.
I understand my privilege now. I didn't come from a fucking privileged background. I had to work for that. And that's fucked because people are just born into that. They have it so easy. Yeah. But it's, and it's not unfair because I don't think it's unfair. I just think that's just life and that's society. And I think, sometimes that's just because I understand where I've come from, who I am, where I'm going. And I understand that now I'm in a very financially privileged space, but my family don't have that. And they get so treated differently to what I do as well. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I think. It's not for me sometimes. It's also about my community. It's from ground roots, grassroots. It's for my family and for my ancestors.
I'm on that wavelength with you. I think you've said it very well. Some freaky shit has happened to me.
You look a bit...
Do not tell me I look tired, bitch. You know why? You know why I look tired? Do you really want to know? Because there is some fucking weird shadow demon in my room hovering over me when I sleep.
What do you mean?
Okay, it's happened to me 3 times in my life. And if you're listening to this and you know what sleep paralysis is, it is scary. So basically the first time it ever happened to me, I was 19 years old. I was in a share house with my best mate, Ollie, and it was in the middle of the night, and I was laying on my side and I felt this thing come onto my bed, felt the weight of it over me, and it was staring at me and it was heavy. And in my head, I thought it was my friend Ollie, but I didn't know why I couldn't move. So I was
just got goosebumps.
So I couldn't. Yeah, it's freaky. If it ever happens to you, you're. But the weird thing is that I was staring at it with the corner of my eye, and I could see it. It was a dark figure, but I couldn't move. And so I sort of just was trying really hard, and I got exhausted, so I just let my body go. And then eventually it stopped, and I was able to move. And the funny thing is the first time it happened to me, the exact same reaction happened to me last night. So when it first happened to me, in the moment, I was so petrified. As soon as it released, I wasn't scared at all. It's like you snap out of fear. So it's like you're so scared in the moment, you can't move. And then once it ends, it's like you have no fear. You know that it was sleep paralysis. It's just a bizarre thing. Well, that's what happened to me. The second time it happened, it was a bit of a different experience because I couldn't see the thing. But the one last night, basically I was having a really troublesome time sleeping, and it was about 1:30 in the morning, and I was like, I need to get to sleep because I have gym. I have to be up at 4:30 a.m. I need to get some sleep. I turned over, and as I was sort of just falling asleep, it happened. And what I felt was my blanket got lifted off me.
Oh.
So I could feel my blanket get lifted off me, and this thing was on my shoulder, just heavy.
No, Matty.
Similar to what happened before. And I was trying so hard to get out of it. And then at one point I sort of came to and realized that it was sleep paralysis, and then I couldn't sleep at all. So I had sort of no sleep between at all. That's why I look a bit disheveled, but I got up at 4:30 and still went to the gym.
Far out. Ew. That kind of grosses me out. I mean, I'd need therapy after that. I'd need definite therapy after that.
Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon that sort of happens to a lot of people around the world. But I
think I've maybe had it once.
Okay.
Once where I just I couldn't move.
But some people see a full figure and some people see eyes. My mum, had happened to her when I was a young kid, and she saw a man in a hat. So a very tall man with a hat.
Oh, see, that gives me literally goosebumps.
Yeah, and she said he was so tall that she didn't know how he got through the door, but she was watching him come towards her. And so that was the first time I ever heard of it, and I was really little then. And then it happened to me 3 times since then. So it's not a great thing to go through, but at the same time, once you've had it happen to you, you know what it is and you sort of don't get as scared.
Yeah. I mean, I would be interested to see, because my dad and I talk about dream interpretations. And so there's like this book about, and it interprets, you know, what it has things that you will dream of, and then it'll have an interpretation of what that could mean, like subconsciously, like what your brain is trying to tell you, or what life is, what's happening in your life at the moment. And I never know how accurate they are, but I'm very open to that sort of stuff. Like I'm very like, you know, I'm very open to a holistic way of thinking, or, you know, alternative health, or alternative, you know, spiritual things per se. Like you know, I'm always big on that. But for me, like, you know, I had a dream, not a sleep paralysis dream, but a dream that my teeth were really, really dirty.
Okay.
And I kept cleaning them, and they
the
kept
repeating dream.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's happened actually twice in the last maybe like couple of months at different times.
Is that why you signed on to Oral-B? She's like, you know what's going to fix this? I'm an Oral-B ambassador.
I'm nearly finished my Invisalign, so maybe it's something to do with my Invisalign. I don't know, but that's a dream that I have, always about teeth, and I don't know if it's because it's an insecurity of mine, or if it means something. I haven't actually even done much research into that, but I'm always so interested to how dreams are interpreted, and just like how people see things, like, you know, like angel numbers or feathers. When you see a feather, like that was one of the things that sent me this fucking week, was a feather like came in through the window and like landed on my leg.
Wow.
And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, what are the chances of that happening?
Wow. Oh my God.
And so, and yeah, it's just like little things, but fucking sleep paralysis, and what you just told me also reminds me of the creature that we were taught as a kid growing up, which is, you know, like the wood archies, featherfoot, you know, other people have different names for it.
Okay. So there's this figure in like blackfella culture. It's sort of like the boogeyman. We just call him Wadachi Man.
But worse than the boogeyman.
Wadachi Man. Oh, it gives me freaking shivers, yeah.
I know, and it's like, you know, a story from like The Dreaming, or however you want to describe it, but it freaks me out. Like, I was traumatized from a kid growing up from this thing, and I think about it often. Like, if I'm walking, like my dog, I'm home before sundown. Like, I ain't walking in the night. Like, I'm legging it home with Cobes. Like, so like, because, you know, we were young kids when you were told, like, you have to be home before sundown.
Lights,
Do you think that you'd do that for your children as well? Will you scare them?
I don't know I don't think I'll use scare tactics, but I'll have some strict boundaries. And I think that, like, making sure that they touch base with me if they're, you know, if that sun's down and they're out. But I don't know if I would tell them about, like, you know, the monster under the bed, or if you don't go to sleep, that man's going to get you, or blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think that that's like a good way to be able to teach someone a lesson through fear. But I think if they were really naughty kids, then I'd change my mind and I'd start using them. No, I'm joking. But like, if they want to, you know, if they want to muck around, I'd be like, yeah, go on then. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. Depending on the kid. No, kidding. But I probably wouldn't.
I definitely wouldn't use fear. I mean, I know how much it traumatized me, and it's still to this day, I'm still scared.
This is so weird, but your whole screen's gone black, and now we're talking about ghosts and you're not there.
Piss off, because I can still see you perfectly fine. No,
we can't see you at all.
Nah.
Oi, and something's just happened.
Tell me when I come back.
Well, you might not be coming back from the other side, wherever you are. This is very odd.
I want to talk about something.
Okay.
Cuffing and culling.
Yes. You know, I didn't know what cuffing meant until Beyonce brought out the song Cuff It. And then I did my research, and everyone was like, it's cuffing season. I was like, WTF, how did I not know what this was?
But she literally opens up, I feel like falling in love.
Yeah. But I didn't know that cuff it meant that you – but normally, this is what I heard. Cuffing season, normally you end up with someone who you normally wouldn't go with and they're sort of under you. There's not underrated. That's the worst thing to say about someone. But like it's someone who you like normally wouldn't get with and you sort of have lowered your standards because you're just going to cuff them for the season and then you're going to let them go. Is that what it's about? Enlighten me, darling. Enlighten me.
I mean, okay, so cuffing season, culling season. Let's go back to sort of seasons because obviously we have winter, summer, autumn, spring, whatever. But we just separate it between summer and, I guess, summer and spring sit together and autumn and winter, I'd say personally. Like that's how I sort of section the year.
Yep.
And I think seasonal, if we take it back to sort of seasons, when I think of cuffing and I think of culling is that throughout summer, I saw a lot of people breaking up, like a lot of people, like relationships that had been together for a very long time, like end, and relationships that hadn't been for a long time end over especially the summer season or coming into the summer season.
Yeah,
I would call that culling season. That's like everyone's cutting it. Everyone wants to live their single best lives over
in
summer.
winter or in summer.
In summer.
Yes. Okay.
In winter, hard launches everywhere. Every day.
And people are cuffing them because they're cold at night and they want to cuddle.
I honestly truly think there are people out there that are seasonal daters, that they date in the winter. I
wouldn't even know how to fucking date, I'm telling you.
No, truly. I think it's an actual fucking thing. And I truly think that there are people out there. I think for me, I'm one of those. And I don't want to be. I want to be alone.
Well, can I get on this sort of rotation? Well, can you teach me how to do it? Because Uncle over here doesn't date and he doesn't know how to date. I want to know how to do it. I want to be in that cuffing, culling vibe.
You just want to cuff them, that's all.
Nah, I'll cull them too. Yeah.
Bye.
Maybe I should just add my number to like the caption of a video or something.
What's the update on Napkin Boy? Are you still talking?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Going well?
Yeah, totally. No, look, I don't know. I'm actually the worst at if you call it dating, texting. And I don't reply to anyone on the apps. I literally haven't replied to one person in the last week on these apps. So I should get rid of the subscription and just let them go.
Yeah, I'm actually not on any dating apps.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I deleted them like months ago and I haven't had any interest in any of them. A few people have slid into my DMs and I have been like, oh, there's potential, but I just really haven't acted on it. And I guess like for me, like I'm in the culling season, in the cuffing season. Like I'm like, no, I don't want a relationship throughout winter. I'm like setting up all these things around my house. This is going to sound so absurd, but I'm setting up all these things around my house so that I have a very enjoyable winter, whether it's going away so that I'm not really fully experiencing a Melbourne winter. I've set all of my heaters to a certain degree and like time so they come on and I don't feel the fucking cold.
Yes. You are amazing. The things that you think of.
She's a bougie bitch. She's honestly so fucking bougie. And I've said that I'm, cutting it all back and I'm downsizing, but I'm like...
She's like, the electricity bill is going up.
100%.
What I'm doing is I'm actually looking at travel. So I'm looking at travel for my birthday in May, which is, obviously like the start of winter, basically end of May. And then I'm looking at traveling in August for a whole month. So I'm planning these 2 like getaway trips, like not getaway the show, like my own little getaway. And I am just looking forward to traveling the world, meeting people and just having like the time of my life in other locations. And I feel like when you have a holiday booked, it gives you something to look forward to. So I know that at some point in winter, when it starts to get cold around here, I'm going to be in summer somewhere else, which I love.
I love how you're in Sydney and you're like, yeah, when it starts to get cold. Melbourne's already fucking started, bitch.
Well, you know what? That is one of the reasons I probably wouldn't move to Melbourne, except I love a Melbourne winter fashion moment.
Everyone says that. Until they get here and they're like, you know what? I'm sick of fucking wearing layers. I want to be naked.
I just want a puffer vest, hoodie, like a little scarf moment. I love it. But you know what I also love doing? Getting on that plane and getting the fuck out of there when it's cold. I'm like, see ya.
I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm not really ready for Melbourne winter yet. Last year I escaped to Argentina. The year before that I was in Sydney doing The Bachelorette.
Babe, in a month's time we're going to be on top of the Beverly Hills Hotel at the pool in the sun. Like, come on.
Let's fucking hope so. Anyways, that's my take on culling and cuffing season. There's been a few hard launches this month with a lot of people jumping into relationships. Will I think they last? Probably not. Who am I to say that? Fucking nobody. But I just think I personally have realised that most of my breakups have happened like over Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
So I'm a seasonal fucking dater. I need to stop.
Okay, well, next time some Tom, Dick or Harry or
Sally
comes along, I'm going to be like, no, let's go back and listen to our podcast and the wise advice you gave, and we'll just have a snippet taken out and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, and I'm not relying on apps. We're not doing that this
I'm deleting the apps. No. I'm so over them already. I haven't even spoken to anyone.
Done. I'm getting my laser done. I'm getting all my beauty things done. I'm in hibernation over the winter. She's in hibernation. She's becoming a possum. She's in hibernation.
It all comes back to that book, Possum Wisdom.
It's Wombat Wisdom, you dickhead.
Wait, possums don't hibernate? Wombats do.
No, possums do as well, I'm pretty sure.
Possums don't.
Well, whatever animal hibernates in the winter, that's me.
Oh, my God, you're a turtle. Little turtles, they're called something turtles, and you literally have to dig a hole for them in the ground, put them in the ground, and then dig them up in a few months. They're literally in the ground. They stay down there. They hibernate.
Do you know what? Also, when we spoke about getting pets last week, I have contemplated whether to get a turtle as a pet.
Oh, my God, get a turtle. Oh, Franklin. You can name him Franklin.
No, I'm going to call it Olive, like olives, like the olive colour.
Oh, look at this one.
That's all we really have for today. It's a big episode, but I feel like, we really appreciate everyone coming back every week. So, It does mean the world for us to have that support, that encouragement, the allyship, everything. So we really love you guys listening every week. And if you do really love us, if you do love us, because, self-love.
We love you. Yeah.
We love you. Leave us a 5-star rating and a little review, because we do appreciate the little words as well. Yeah,
and if you want to tell us something, why don't you follow us on socials if you don't already, or slide into our DMs. Brooke's handle is @Brooke.Blurton. Mine is @It'sMattyMills. And you can follow us over at Nova Podcast with all the action at Nova Podcast Official.
Bye.
All right. Bye.